without ceasing hope, it is a real pleasure to welcome Stefano Bressani together in the company of Carlo Motta, who it's been a while since I've seen you, but in this week we catch up because on Tuesday
between
you are
this
here
week
again.
and October, we make up for the time.
Then sculpture and dress, Stefano Bressani, cloth hearts. Let's see something behind you, absolutely. The invitation is valid until the 12th of October to come to the bookstore and see this exhibition. It seems to me it is 27 hearts.
27 plus 1, that is what it is.
One that is on the floor, and they are ex-voto pop. I really like. This reminds everyone that the Mouth Bookstore is sponsoring this event until the 28th of October. You can participate with art to eat panettone, in Mouth art to eat art, Bagate and Vasecchi Museum, Mouth Bookstore, the invitation to participate in this new initiative to support. Then Bagate and Vasecchi Museum is available on all the social accounts of the Mouth Bookstore term on the 28th of October. I say this because instead your exhibition ends on the 12th of October, all the days we do first Sunday, and including 11/18, okay. Then, dear Stephen, it's been a while that we follow each other. Then I participated lately also in one of the last awards that the bookstore organized, which I was very pleased you did not get in the short list of finalists, but I fished you in an exhibition organized by a gallery that was participating in this initiative promoted by the Mouth Bookstore, which I was very pleased with. There we talked. And from there, the idea of doing an exhibition inside the bookstore, you realize recently from your Amsterdam trip, you heard too, that you saw too, that basically were side by side and they were communicating through their cell phones, not looking at each other.
Yes, even though it was going back a few more
This
years,
Amsterdam thing.
years.
Yes, however, it stayed there, it pulled you, and in the 2023...
We tell it.
Go!
So these Pop X Votos were born precisely because the idea was to create a line, therefore a new brand of my production. That was a work that was smarter, customizable, therefore that gave in a way that people could have a dedicated work. Not only on a classic commission of a portrait, which can be normally a work that I normally make, but something that could represent a life path for people. Obviously, I wanted to unite different worlds. Therefore, starting from the idea of the traditional ex voto, which is really that of sacred art, and then getting to the translation to a work that was basically a spokesman for a concept precisely. The concept comes from Amsterdam. When I was there for work where I had been commissioned, among other things, an exhibition, a work for the Museum of Eroticism in the Red Light District. And as I was traveling, I was on this subway, and I see precisely these two little girls who were 15 years old. And between them in the place, I realized, after 10 minutes, I got them in front of me. I realized that they were not talking to each other, but they were texting. 10, 12 years ago, it wasn't yet as trivial as it can be now when you tell young people about it. However, it's something that stayed with me when I could add this concept that should be just the spark of these hearts. So not just the flame of the ex voto, but this spark precisely is the chord of this phrase precisely that says that the heart of cloth, if you're not connected, you don't deserve my love.
If not in my opinion, if you don't tell me, and well it could. Dear Carlo, you working out of Mondadori, it could become a slogan, if you're not connected, I don't deserve my work.
But then we have to pay us the
The idea though is mine, that I said it could become no. No here, there is already a partnership, listen. Instead you are partnering with Carlo Motta. Of course he is editorial manager of Giorgio Mondadori, already participates in so many initiatives for social TV. Indeed, I always thank you that you dedicate your time also to culture and bookstore Mouth. And I know our friend Stefano, you know him for a long time. He is also present in several editions of the CAM. You were asking me the 59 that now you are in preparation.
Thank you for this report, because we are preparing and we are closing documents for the printing of the 60 issue, which is obviously a very important celebratory issue.
Catalogue of Modern Art, we remember.
Modern Art, which was born in 1962 as Balatti. Then it became Giorgio Mondadori, and even within the Cairo group it remains the brand, the Giorgio Mondadori editorial logo, and with that we have been going out forever.
which, by the way, I have to say, you are among the very few electrical houses that continue to print a yearbook, because before there were so many together with you to the hands I can think of with the 19th century paintings, Meyer, Acune,
Not all of
Comenducci,
them.
all
There are
disappear
some
in
that
one
somehow
yes.
got into this wake. But I can say that we are
Definitely more historical,
historical
though.
than I don't say the
You guys
past,
are more
but we defend
historical.
ourselves.
So okay, then how did you guys meet?
We, with Stefano Bressani, we have known each other for several years, I must say, because the modern art catalogue I have been following for
But
several.
we had also had a meeting here in the gallery. It's been
In the middle of the COVID period, we had done a meeting in the gallery, and in that case, we presented, for example, a skyline of the city of Matera. I remember Matera, but he did other monuments in a row.
Really his own.
went scrabbling around in the YouTube library. Mouth Bressani already comes up together.
And to tell the truth, I remembered you brought up a good man.
We presented the skyline, which, by the way, was the most complete skyline, but also the skyline.
There was also the skyline of Milan, and in fact we took the photograph with the policeman who lived there.
Always, but they would come closer when needed.
However, this is the pop part. They were impressive because they understood that we were paying homage to Milan and made us take the picture.
These ex-votos are full of tags. Tell us a...
So the base of the cloth heart remains the soul of the dress sculptures, declined of course on the heart shape, so it remains everything that is part of the traditional ex voto. And then I wanted to give a slant definitely to the memorabilia mai that I am a child of the 70s, so there are contaminations that go from the 70s to the 80s, especially in so many hearts we see. Also in the one that is part of the Lacandia of today's exhibition, just the same where there are the cassettes, the audio cassettes, cassette players to so many
Everyone
others.
has a story.
Obviously, Tanche are part of the fashion. We are in the desired of the passion. Week of the week. It was not to be otherwise, though. Here are all the mini stickers that are applied following a story, because what I always want to bring along with my works is that unlike this debate that is always created, art should be told in my case. I always have the pleasure of telling it because I think the added value is the story of the contemporary artist. That is what represents the work itself. And if you are lucky enough to know him, it is obviously the story made by direct concern, and no one better than him can tell. Everything else can be an interpretation, but what the artist does is absolutely the most intimate part of the work that is born.
In the press release, you precisely say that however dress sculptures, the toe hearts, trousers, costume, recycling, sustainability, because you put them all in, and all the aspects that have merged in your way of interpreting art, and by the way, you are considered the tailor of art, artist and master of a unique technique. Would you like to tell us about that?
And I started out from, I always tell it, I enjoy this thing with due proportion, but a bit of a Leonardo, that I came to the world of art as a self-taught. I remember I did to specialize.
All the greatest artists are self-taught.
Surely I had a blank sheet of paper on which to draw without following the tracks of someone who told me what I had to do. Obviously I found myself in the situation of inventing something, starting basically and very trivially from a Christmas ball patchwork. The first work, I used to tell Carlo today, we arrived at the work number 800, was born on the kitchen table at 1 o'clock in the morning. That in kitchen knife is a piece of styrofoam. Basically, then I matched the new of the mechanical designer to create to after the tool sets to be able to obviously achieve the result. The road is long, however. The datum that I have arrived at today tells so much about what has changed in my technique, and I always like to compare myself to, at my departure, to a pendency of up to 800 to today, which is the last cosmetic surgery done. Basically, you were also talking about the recycling of sustainability on, because I start by buying even, obviously, clothing already packaged to be clothing through the artwork. The same clothing wants to have the good presumption to become something eternal against what are the dictates of the past facial that normally one by garment they put it. And they throw it away, and then that would go to the Marcellus. There are so many concepts within my works then.
A big good luck, Carlo. Do you want to add something?
I want to add that this cycle of hearts is actually a brave choice on Stephen's part, because actually maybe he comes down on the very conceptual level, and paradoxically the hearts need an explanation compared to his figurative works, but quite easy to understand. The heart. He has always been at the center of great novels, great books. We all know the heart of Edmundo de Amicis, the heart of Conrad's Tenebra, Tamaro's Va dove ti porta il cuore, and other volumes that obviously have the heart at the center. Aristotle considered the heart to be the center of emotions, and even regarded it as the center of the nervous system more important than the brain. We know today that this is not the case because the heart is the engine of our body, of the cardiocirculatory system, but certainly when we who are relaxed and serene have a slow heartbeat, when we are agitated, excited, or doing things, the heartbeat increases. So actually the heart receives our emotions and is stimulated by our emotions, and that's why it has become like saying.
Of course.
It has also entered into the common language. I'm talking to you with an open heart, my heart is squeezing, and so on and so forth.
We have 37, 27, we can find 27 ways.
Now we gave him a cue.
Just from what Carlo just finished saying, the titles of these works, Pop ex voto,
Has no miso, unlike all the other works that
one for all.
they wanted to make a monoform, but basically it will become brutito entitled too long because paradoxically each heart has a narrative that lasts a few minutes. Once told so obviously, it would not make sense to identify it in something also, because then to dia of the explanation. Remember though that the alter ego of those who see the work is anyway from their own interpretation one.
So they absolutely invite you to come and see the exhibition. I would like to add
very
something.
important thing that I was telling you this morning while we were setting up, that I am very proud, among other things, of something that came from my hands. And really last year, it was the month of December, that it also became part of the graces of the church, which is a very conservative institution.
We have a specimen that maybe will come to the Vatican directly.
But it's worth saying that because 2 hearts have already been baptized by 2 bishops. I'm working because so that another heart will become part of the collection, either of the cathedral or of Sant'Ambrogio, having already made a Sant'Ambrogio in the past years, and the one at the top that you will see, that who will see the exhibition, to the white one that has this key, that would be the key of San Pietro, is intended for the Pope.
In fact,
so
they are
obviously
3 that cannot be alienable because they are donated. Instead, I know that you, Stefano, are precisimo of other side events besides the making of the hearts. You also did a project for the Fate Bene Fratelli in Milan. You also move in the social field, obviously, so you furnished with images of some of your works, reproductions of some of your works, a ward for children who are not well, like a pediatric.
if we want to say something, then if you want, I'll say it. I've done so many projects, being the only one doing this kind of thing. I've been able to decline in so many directions. So art, fashion, design, architecture, food, and then one of these, which is something that I like to do when I have the possibilities, and I believe in this a lot because I think an artist can bring a kind of charity different from the usual charity, which is the charity where you give money to buy something that is absolutely fundamental. However, the cultural charity can bring an artist, obviously helps to create content that helps to raise the attention in other people who obviously can put high, and everyone contributes in their own way. All of this, of course, is still a cost because the time you dedicate to each operation is so much. Obviously, a few years ago, I started with this project, which is called Search to Your World, referred to the Italian pediatricians. They have already entered with this signature, which is called To Artist's Head, among which we also talked about it in the past years. On the cam of one of my heads, which became in this signature, where each department of the Italian pediatricians is a long-term project open, created with a signature on a plinth that is actually then supported by the expenses of the various rotters who take charge of it. I got to know in this path Professor Bernardo, who is director of the Pediatric Home Le Bene Fratelli. There was immediately a relationship of empathy, and since I had presented recently this other exhibition of the AI for Roses that has 2 years of life of these superheroes that go back to being children, and he loved the concept of being able to bring precisely the children, superheroes in the children's ward, because every child there is found to be a little super. And by the way, the news of the last few days was just that I had furnished you, as you have seen, there are all the works, actually. The children who are now already seeing the works are treated in these outpatients. I wanted to take them off the walls to bring inside the outpatient clinic for visiting. And in fact, they commissioned me to do other works to put inside as well. One.
I even made it in
What
place. I know you also passed through Siena.
No, Siena, no.
No Siena? But what a competitor. You're a Paglio. I recount a Paglio, however you're...
Known, although in reality, the Palio di Asti Fair be the oldest in Italy.
A past for a Palio. This is combined.
And I made this banner that actually R21 went to the Collegiate of San Secondo, which precisely the patron saint of Asti, while the other was practically Donato, in this case to the Torretta, which is one of the districts of Asti that were winners of this year's Palio.
Okay, we have done. I got it. It's not like you can make a divine comedy now. There are so many things to do, but we have to interest people so that they come to see until October 12th precisely your exhibition. Also because you see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, but it's 27 and then up close they change. That is, up close I appreciate them more because you see them just a treat.
So the former face normally is represented with this barbed wire. I wanted instead finished with this wire of in front. Instead, use the barbed wire precisely because it actually wanted to leave the concept of the softness of beauty that can...
Oh, okay, precisely. Understood. I used this golden copper wire almost.
Yes,
green
it's a silver wire.
pearl.
However, it's actually something that doesn't sting, but rather invites and entices you. However, always to the talk of touch, which is something that is not a repel.
Then you put them in this price bath, yes, then you can't touch them because anyway it's me that you can touch. You touch with your eyes, okay, then I thank you, Stefano. I thank you, Carlo, of course. Listen, Carlo, but at Tuesday, what are we going to talk about?
Andrea Felice.
Now he's going to go happy. Okay, we have an anticipation.
Parallels. He's
okay, so there is also Fortunato.
Going back to Mexico.
Or if you want to Sepa Spaso, yes, at 17 o'clock or 18 o'clock. Let's mix it up. That's right. A good evening to everybody, and hopefully see you on Tuesday. No. You can't say hello. You can't say hello to us.
No, I want to thank Carlo Motta because he was a really exquisite person also for taking the time on a Sunday that between the various commitments between work and family today.
More than anything else, so now we start drinking and then I dedicate your guests who are all outside, lower a couple
you're
inside.
Always a great host, and anyway, thanks to Carlo. I met you, so it's an honor to be here today in the Cultural Lounge.
No, by the way, it's a beautiful exhibition. I must say, very pleased also to set it up. Really, I like it very much. Exactly, and then there is also a work on the floor, challenge to find it. At the beginning, thank you, thank you.
Oh, and come on, Inter.
Nicola will appreciate you very much.